Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. We're going to break down how the US government works when it comes to executive orders, federal laws, and the Constitution. By the end, you'll understand how these three pieces fit together to protect our democracy and our rights as Americans. Let's get started. First up, what is an executive order? An executive order is an order issued by the president to different departments of the executive branch. For example, President Harry S. Truman issued Executive Order 9981 in 1948, which desegregated the U.S. Armed Forces. However, it's important to understand that executive orders are not actual laws. The president can only use executive orders to enforce current federal laws, reinterpret the enforcement of federal law, invoke powers granted by Congress, and finally, exert power over the executive branch. Presidents cannot create new federal laws or violate existing federal laws or the U.S. Constitution. For example, let's say the president issued an executive order that made it legal for employers to discriminate against someone based on race, religion, or gender. That executive order would clearly violate the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibits such discrimination. Because only Congress has the power to create or abolish federal laws, such an executive order would be illegal and unconstitutional. Now let's talk about federal laws. Federal laws are pieces of legislation made by the U.S. Congress and then signed by the president, but even federal laws made by Congress are not all powerful. Federal laws are more powerful than executive orders because they cannot be repealed by the president alone. Congress and the president together have the power to create new federal laws or repeal existing ones. However, these laws cannot violate the rights guaranteed in the U.S. Constitution. Finally, we have the U.S. Constitution, which is often called the supreme law of the land. The U.S. Constitution protects the basic rights of Americans, defines the structure of the federal government, and sets clear limits on government power. Because of this, laws passed by state governments or by Congress cannot violate what is written in the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Constitution and the power of the judiciary are the last line of defense against a tyrannical government. This is why it's very difficult to change the Constitution. To change the Constitution, you would first need a proposed constitutional amendment passed by a two-thirds majority in both houses of Congress, or a constitutional convention called by two-thirds of the states, which is 34 out of 50, but that's just the beginning. To ratify the new amendment and add it to the Constitution, 3/4 of the states, 38 out of 50, must approve it. Thank you for watching. These are the ways the president's power is checked by federal law and the U.S. Constitution, the last line of defense against a tyrannical government. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.